Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and if you are still here listening to this, I want to congratulate you. I'm going to assume that you've not been shaken out of the market, or at least not entirely, right? It's just so fascinating getting perspective from a number of different analysts based on data that does indicate that what we've been seeing, well, really the whole time, but in particular since the most recent Bitcoin dump where it crashed over 50% since May 19th, this is normal. This is par for the course. And so I'm going to share with you in this video expectations from a few chart analysts within this video, but take a look at this article too. I want to run through this. It comes from the Daily Hodl. It's titled, "Drastic Shift in Behavior of Long-Term Bitcoin Holders Underway. On-Chain Analyst Will Clemente." And it's so fascinating to see the data. So wait till I share it with you, because it illustrates further just how deeply human psychology drives this entire market. Things are so cyclical. It's absolutely astonishing here. So just wait, because of course Bitcoin leads the market fine, but the market still does lead in tandem, move in tandem as a result. And so the number of people that have been shaken out a lot. The number of people now interested in holding long-term increasing. What do you think that means for XRP? Because XRP, again, simply going to follow the price action of Bitcoin. So I'm excited to see what's going to be happening throughout the rest of this bull market in terms of the price action for Bitcoin. Because the higher it goes, and the higher other alts like Ethereum go, the higher my expectations will be for XRP. But I do want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I just think it's fun to talk about topics having to do with Ripple and XRP and crypto. And that's all that's going on here. As I record this, XRP is at 85 cents. Bitcoin is at $38,000, market cap at 1.58 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance a little over 45%. So the market a little bit red today, but not down by much. Look, we are trading sideways right now. I don't care if we're at 40,000 or 35,000 or pick a number somewhere there about, whatever. This is not scary. This really is not. I hope you're not scared, right? I'm not seeing a lot of people bitching and moaning about like being scared. Oh my gosh, bear. I'm not seeing the bear people lately. I haven't seen them for a few days now. So hopefully there's not a bunch of people out there feeling fearful about that. But if you have any concern about the cyclical nature of things and where we're at in this market cycle, maybe I can help alleviate some of your fears here. Here's a tweet from chart analyst Kaleo, who shared the following with his 320,000 followers on Twitter. "My predictions for the second half of 2021. Bitcoin enters six-figure price discovery. Ethereum breaks above $10,000. And actually, if I could pause right there. If Ethereum really does break above $10,000, if XRP matches that in terms of market cap, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of what, like $20 to $25 XRP. And to me, that's worth noting, because last market cycle, XRP and Ethereum, although they didn't top at the exact same time, and you wouldn't really expect them to, and they didn't, but they did have just about the same peak last market cycle in terms of market cap. So Ethereum already got up to whatever it was recently, $4,400, whatever its high was. I think it was around there. And so already there, you'd think, well, if XRP matches that in terms of market cap, you're already looking at $10 or $11 XRP. But if it really does run up to $10,000, which, look, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it sounds wacky at this point. If Bitcoin keeps running up that high, I would not be surprised in the least if you see that from Ethereum. So there's a lot of ifs going on here, but perfectly reasonable to speculate and talk about, right? And then Kaleo continues. "We see one more major alt season." Got to pause there again already. That I firmly believe. Because the indicator that the market is at the tail end of the bull cycle will be when every cryptocurrency that anyone has ever bought is taking off. When it feels like that, we're near the end. And I remember that in late 2017, late November, pretty much all through December, and even for some coins into January. But it's just like you couldn't pick a loser. I mean, until obviously the market crashed because it was a bubble, which I think is happening again, which is fine. I'm here for the bubble, frankly. But every coin went off, and so everybody's a genius at that point. Nobody's an idiot. I don't even know how, if you were trying to lose money, it would be hard at that point until the bubbles popped, of course, because there are individual bubbles for each coin, one big crypto bubble, if you want to call it that, fine. But that will be the indication that we're actually at the tail end of this thing. And until that happens, I'm not going to be really too particularly concerned. That's just the way that I look at it, right? And since we've only had a handful of cryptocurrencies pop off to this point, I just don't think we're going to renew that. So onwards and upwards, like in terms of structurally, what would I expect from a market cycle? We haven't had that. To me, there's like almost no chance that we're actually in a bear market right now. I don't believe it. Then he said, more institutional / government adoption, more institutional / government FUD. Yeah, well, that's something that's not going to go away anytime soon. The narratives are hilarious to me, how they flip-flop back and forth. Oh, China's pro-Bitcoin. Oh, China's anti-Bitcoin. Pick your country. Like, same with India. It's positive and negative news in the United States. It just comes, it goes. It's kind of ridiculous. It doesn't frankly matter, but it does seem to scare some people, and I'm just like, it's stupid. And then here's his predictions though for 2022 and / 2023. And as I go through this, keep in mind that we are in a bubble now. Arguably, it's certainly inflating. And that's what I wanted, though. Like, I've been counting on this personally. Bubbles do not mean that something is bad, just by the nature of it existing. You get bubbles in every asset class, from real estate to stock markets, precious metals. It can happen in anything, including crypto, right? And so people that buy the top of any bubble in any asset class, not going to be happy when it pops. Totally got that. But I'm here for the volatility. I've been anticipating the whole time we've been in a bear market the last few years that eventually the bubble would inflate again. That's where party time for Moon Lambo is. So I'm really waiting for this to pump up further, but there will be a pop. And so I'll caution you now, because I think there are going to be a lot of people that don't get out at ideal times, or maybe they buy the top, and then even if they get out, they have no option but downward until, there's another bull cycle at some point in the future, which could be years later. So in case you're new, just a heads up, this is what happens every several years or so. We get one of these huge bubbles. So this will be, I guess, arguably the third massive one. That's my expectation anyway. And I'm excited for that. I am looking forward to that. That's what I'm speculating on. And people that buy the top, that's their decision. If I'm selling when they're buying, then they're just betting against me. They think I'm wrong. I think they're wrong. And that's the way markets work. So it's not that I want people to lose money, but I do feel confident that those people that will be buying the top will be wrong and will regret it. Because I think history is going to repeat again here. So I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying be cautious, make yourself aware of the cyclical nature of the cryptocurrency markets, and do what you want. I'm doing what I want. I'm here to party, man. All right. So anyway, his predictions for 2022 and 2023. Bitcoin back down to $50,000. Ethereum back down below $1,000. Alts die again. Bears who were bearish the whole way up from here to the top call for infinite clout. Major regulation comes against crypto. People call Bitcoin dead again. And then he writes in parentheses, it isn't. Yeah, and it won't be. I don't think for a second it's going to be dead once the bubble pops. In fact, once we're in bear market, in case you haven't heard me say it before, it's worth repeating here. I'm going to keep running this damn channel, and I'm going to be excited in the bear market too. I'm not going to be scared or depressed or anything like that. I'm going to be just as chipper as ever, and I'm going to be snatching up everybody's fear. Everybody wants to sell their cryptos at a discount. Uncle Moon Lambo gonna be buying, and I'll be happy to share with you what I'm doing at the time. And then that will go on for years, and I know less people will be around, but it's just a shame because that's the best time to pay attention. I know it's more fun to pay attention in the bull markets, but the best time to pay attention is in the bear market when everybody else isn't paying attention because they think it's all dead or they're scared and it's going to zero. Nobody wants to buy when stocks in crypto go on sale. That is to say, when the markets are depressed. But that is the best time to pay attention, I firmly believe. And so I'm absolutely going to be doing that here. So yes, and by the way, the blockchain backer, so he's calling for, maybe upwards of 80,000 or so Bitcoin. He was talking recently, he's like, so how low is Bitcoin going to get when the bubble does pop? Because he's in line with me and pretty much every other analyst that's worth their salt in terms of thinking, yes, there will be a bubble. If it's not here now, it's going to inflate further. And it's going to pop. And he was talking about Bitcoin getting down to perhaps $14,000 or something like that. But even if it does, That's way higher than the low of the previous cycle when Bitcoin got down to somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,200. So, and the reason Kaleo thinks it's only going to crash down to about, $50,000 is because he thinks that it's going to climb much higher. So, I won't be surprised to see Bitcoin a lot below $50,000, but it does depend on how high Bitcoin climbs. I got that. So we shall see. Here's chart analyst Michael Vandepop, who simply wrote, still expecting this path on Bitcoin. And here's what he shared. He got some little squiggles he hand drew in here. So this isn't a science. It's just to share with you in a general sense what he's expecting in the coming months, which is mostly sideways chop. There could be some days where there'll be some exciting upward price action for Bitcoin here. But then ultimately, it looks like this would be ending somewhere in the neighborhood of the beginning of September. He's expecting close to $50,000 for Bitcoin. I keep seeing this from all sorts of analysts, including DIY Investing here. I watched a new video from him. And here you can see he tweeted out, the big picture has never looked stronger for crypto. I have an important chart to share with you guys. This summer sell-off is no different than what we have seen every cycle since 2013. And I think that he's correct, personally. He shows that, this most recent 50% plus Bitcoin pullback, it's always happened in previous market cycles. And not that everything's literally going to be to a T exactly the same, but it's pretty damn close. And so you do get these massive pullbacks, but then you do get a last, one final leg up. And so he says that we will chop, meaning trade sideways for most of the summer. And then in the fall, push for one final high for this market cycle. And he says, basically, don't feel bad for not taking profits if you didn't before the market pulled back 50%, because, he says he's still planning on taking massive profits at the tail end of 2021. And so, and I look at it the same. I'm not going to beat myself up for not timing the market. I was never going to sell before the market tanked. I'm not interested. And for me, part of the reason is the tax implications of doing that. Because in the United States, if you hold for at least a year, then you get taxed only at 20%. It's long-term capital gains tax. But otherwise, you get taxed at your whatever bracket you're at. But if you're in the top 1%, it's not so good with crypto gains. My gosh. So for me, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm just going to wait when it's high enough that it's attracted me. That's when I'll sell, because that's the only thing that I can really control is whether I'm buying or selling or holding. And so until the price is where I want it to be, I'm not going to sell, hoping that it goes lower and then jumping back in. Because if I'm wrong, I mess up, which I think would be inevitable. You could have some major mess ups that you're gonna cry yourself a river for the next 3 years. So I'm not interested in doing that stuff. But he's saying the same thing here. One final leg up. He's saying the same thing as, for instance, the blockchain backer, another analyst that says, yeah, we're expecting one more major leg up for Bitcoin. They just kind of differ in terms of where they think Bitcoin's going to top off this market cycle, but it is coming. Here's the tweet from the blockchain backer. In fact, this is perfectly normal before surges for the XRP price chart in an altcoin market. What we're seeing right now, none of it's weird. And so I was talking about this, I've been talking about it a number of times lately, actually, but it's just this idea that most of the time that we're in a crypto market, your trading sideways are going down. You just start, the really fun parts, the euphoric parts, it's a small percentage of days. And so if you can't make it through the scariest and the non-fun parts where not much is happening, you're not going to make it. You won't. Because that's what it is to be in crypto. And that's most of what I know. It's it's been fun being in all this mania, somewhat mania again. Wait till the end of the year though. But it's fun to see it. But that's why I set my expectations in a reasonable place, and I had fun during the bear market. I really did. I didn't mind buying everyone's fear. I didn't mind having my XRP and other cryptocurrency investments down for most of the last 3.5 years, because they were. And had I gotten sick of it and evidence, oh my gosh, it's just not doing anything, I could have sold at any point along the way, and then I would have missed out on what we saw when XRP, mind you, it bottomed out at 11 cents last year, ran up to $2 recently. I would have missed that. Now, I didn't sell, but that's because I expected to go higher, but I would have missed all of this. I would have missed that. Every coin that I hold, I would have missed all of it. I was just it's just not doing anything. My God. But that's what happens with these markets, and people get shaken out. And it's too bad for them. Too bad, so sad. That's why for me, it's best to just recognize these patterns, manage human emotion, and just move forward. And while recognizing that whatever expectations you have, whatever you think is going to happen, you could be wrong. And so it's always best to just only invest what you're willing to lose, because we don't know anything for sure. Despite my strong conviction, my strong opinions on all sorts of stuff having to do with directionally where price is going, I always recognize I could be wrong, in which case I lose everything. And that would suck. That would suck a lot. But I'm an adult, and that's the game I'm playing here, basically. Now take a look at this from the Daily Hodl. Drastic shift in behavior of long-term Bitcoin holders underway. On-chain analyst Will Clemente. On-chain analyst Will Clemente is observing a change in the habits of long-term Bitcoin holders. Clemente says that the net position change of long-term Bitcoin investors is now in positive territory, indicating that the number of Bitcoin being hodled is increasing. And so think about this. We just had this scary time. What do we know about human emotion and how it controls the markets? When things are scary, you know, like people, they panic on the way down, but eventually you do hit a support level. And what happens then? The people that are like, yeah, the lemmings that jumped off the cliff were idiots. Those people jump in and they buy. And then those are the people that hold. It's like these are the ones that have kind of gotten it. Because it's just rinse and repeat for this. It's been happening for 12 freaking years. Just look at a damn chart, people. Like, it really has been. I'm not kidding you. Don't take my word for it. Just look it up yourself, and you can see it's rinse and repeat. And so here we are again. It has happened again. And as long as people are right, and we're still in a bull market, then this level of support, and most chart analysts think it's going to hold. They seem to have very strong conviction, and based historically on what we've seen in the past, seems reasonable to suspect that may be the case. And so the people buying here, I won't be surprised to find when we fast forward another 6, 9, 12 months that they were correct. And the people buying here look a lot smarter than the people that are selling here. That's what I'm expecting here. And so the sentiment for these people is different. And he writes here, hodler net position change has flipped green for the first time since October. According to a chart accompanying Clemente's statement, the net position of long-term Bitcoin investors has been in negative territory since November 2020, when the flagship cryptocurrency broke above the $15,000 mark for the first time in over 2 years. In reference to a chart showing that the total supply of Bitcoin held by long-term holders has been increasing since late May. And think about that. Let me pause right there. Increasing since late May for them. It was May 19th when the world fell apart and everybody thought it was going to zero. And all these people that don't know what the hell they're doing, they panic sold to the whales, and people that understand how market cycles work, that is what happened. And so let me start reading that sentence again. In reference to a chart showing the total supply of Bitcoin held by long-term holders has been increasing since late May, Clemente comments that it is a signal. The chart shows that the total supply of Bitcoin in the hands of long-term holders had reached a peak towards the end of last year and hit a low around the end of the first quarter of this year before starting an upward trend. The on-chain analyst also points out that if Bitcoin crosses above the $41,000 level, then it could easily reach $47,000, as there is a price gap between the two levels. And so that level doesn't sound very far off from what Michael Vandepot was talking about. And these are just two of the analysts that have been talking about roughly this range. There are others. I've covered them in the recent days where I've been making videos about price on this channel. So, yeah, I won't be surprised to see that in the least. And you know what? All I have to do in the meantime is absolutely nothing, which is what I've been doing for over 3 years, other than the times I was actually purchasing. But other than that, I've done nothing. I've not been reacting to the market as it's gone up or down, because it's not where it's enticed me to the point to even sell. So certainly it going in the opposite direction, going down, is not going to entice me, because I'm not an idiot. And so what I'm going to do is just simply continue to hold. I'm going to do nothing. And I think it's a beautiful strategy for myself anyway. But I will wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.